Welcome to Beauty Business Matters. I'm Susan Routledge, your host, and got yet another very special guest with me today. I've got Sam Grocutt from Essence PR. But you and I first met, I think, Sam, from you work with the Hair and Beauty charity, and when I joined the committee, I think that's when we first met. And then, obviously, since then you've done stuff with, you work with Forest and all sorts of different things, and now something new, exciting as well. You've got on the horizon. So first of all, welcome, and we've got so much to talk about.
I know. I was going to say. I think I was saying to you, which hat am I today?
We'll have a bit of them all.
Have a bit of them all. I've kind of having been in the industry for probably 30 years now, in the sort of the hair and beauty industry, as a PR. I kind of have done a lot of things. So everything from, my PR agency, Essence PR, which is 22 years old now.
Wow.
And that specialises in hair and beauty. But then obviously with the hair and beauty charity, how we know each other, I actually joined that, I would say probably 15, 16, 17 years ago. And that was through Helen Ward, who I'm sure a lot of your listeners are very familiar with Helen. So Helen and I was doing their PR at the time, her and Richard. And she said, come along to this one meeting. I need you to just take some notes. Mm-hmm. And that was 17 years ago. Mm-hmm. So that note taking went on and on and on. So that's how I got introduced to the Hair and Beauty charity. Mm-hmm. And then also we've just been chatting this week. I've just got in last night from a very glamorous 5 days in Cannes for a big media exhibition over there called Cannes Lion, with my Global Women in PR hat on. So that's
and then we've got a new Curated Beauty hat to go on as well.
Yeah.
Let's go back though to, how did you get into working in the hair and beauty industry in the first place?
Nepotism. Purely nepotism. My sister's a hairdresser, and she's a couple of years older than me. So I did a media degree. So I came out of university, like most people, a long, long time ago, sort of fell into doing some work with a media agency, but I really wanted to do PR. My sister was a hairdresser. She was doing a lot of session work and a lot of stage work. She had a salon down in Portsmouth, and she was a big Goldwell customer. And so she was doing a lot of work with their PR agency at the time. And she said, well, I'm a big customer. My sister wants to get into PR. You should hire her. And that was basically it. So she opened the door. And I always think that's the thing with nepotism. The door is open, but you have to keep it open. So that was my very first job. So I worked with those guys so I was Goldwell's PR in an agency for a couple of years, and then moved around to another consumer-facing agency, which was brilliant. And I was working on things like Benefit Cosmetics, Urban Decay, Hard Candy. That was like the heyday of PR. And then I very quickly realised I wanted to do something on my own. So I think I was 31 when I set up my own agency.
Wow. And obviously it's changed, hasn't it, in so many ways. What's the main changes that you see from the beginning, from you starting to like where it is now?
Well, when I first started, we were still using fax machines. and what we called transparencies, images. Yeah. You might remember all of those. And so
it all seemed perfectly normal then.
exactly sort of thing. So we were doing hair shoots, we were doing fashion shows. Everything was coming on in these tiny little things. And then there was computers. We started using more computers. And then you had your own computer and your own laptop. So that in itself. And then it jumped really quickly from this basic computer to suddenly phones. And I had a BlackBerry. And I remember being so excited about having a BlackBerry. But then also, I think that was the downfall of my life.
When you think about it, BlackBerries, though, they were the hardest phone ever to use, weren't they? They weren't user-friendly, really.
No, they had the quirky keyboard on your phone. But then I realised, then somebody introduced me to an iPhone.
And life changed.
Well, actually, do you know what? Because I was determined to keep with the BlackBerry for years. I didn't want to move over. My IT guy kept trying to do it. And when I did, I realised what a fool I'd been not moving it, because whenever I used to get back to the office, and I've always run around, I've always been here, there and everywhere, I would then have to resync every single bit of work I'd done on my BlackBerry to my laptop at work. So I was doing twice a day, every day, all the time. Whereas with the iPhone, it talked to my computer and suddenly I had hours back. So just something as basic as that. But then now also we have the influencer element, which has come in.
That's like huge now.
Yeah.
Isn't it? So with PR, obviously there's a real skill to PR. What would you say that skill is? And like, because you've got it in abundance.
Oh, thank you. For me, I think with PRs, there's kind of two types. I am the outgoing, talkative networker. I love putting people together in a room. I love being able to sort of open doors for people. Interestingly, writing is not my strength. It's something that I've done. Obviously, I went to university. I've got a degree. Of course, I can write, but it's not my passion. My passion is people, which I think is why the hair and beauty industry has been something I've loved doing. I love going to a professional beauty show. I love going to Salon International. If you put me in a noisy area with makeup artists, nail techs, like hairdressers, I'm in my element, basically. And I think for me, that's what I love about the PR, is that you never know what the day's going to be. You never know who you're going to bump into. You never know what you're going to be saying or doing from one moment to the next.
So do you just find that the PR comes quite naturally, or do you end up having to create it kind of?
No, to be honest, for me, it's quite natural. And I also working with clients that I love to work with. Over the years, I've had a few kind of clients I very quickly can tell within the first month or two, it's not going to work for me because they're either too demanding and they don't get it. And I hated those 5 o'clock on a Friday afternoon calls that would be like, what have you been doing this week? And I'm like, no, it doesn't work that way. We have a relationship. We're friends. We're friendly. We get on with it. And I just think for me, that's what makes the perfect PR, is that somebody has to have a story, first of all. So whether that is when I've done personality, so I've worked with, sort of nail techs and hairdressers and beauticians all my life, they have to have a story to tell. And then when you're talking about a brand and a product, again, there has to be something new coming through, or a hero story, or something they're doing with tech or technology or data. So you have to have a story at all times. But I'm also quite good at finding the stories for the client as well.
That's what I absolutely love, though, that, you can have a room full of God knows how many businesses, and every single one in the same industry has a totally different story. And that's why I love doing the podcast. And that's why we did the 3 Beauty and the Best books, and to start with, I can always remember when we, obviously they're multi-author books, and I'd said to everyone in Beauty Directors Club, right, we're going to do a book, 22 authors, and the idea is you're going to write your own story. And they were all like, oh, we haven't got a story and things. And then I must have done a really good sales job, because by the time I got off the call with them all, they were all like, yeah, we're in. And then the thing was, it was like, it went from I haven't got a story to like, I've got double the words now. How do I get that down? Because the thing is, once you start drawing someone's story out, it's amazing,
they all
isn't
say
it?
Everyone's got a book in them, don't they?
Yeah.
Sort of thing. And actually, not just from a career point of view, but actually my family, and obviously I'm not going to go into the details, but my family are quite interesting and like over the years and various things. And everyone says to me, oh, you should write it down. And I'm like, I just don't think I could be bothered, really. But from a career point of view, I think it's fascinating, the journey I've done in my sort of, 30 odd years, the people I've met, the people I've helped, the brands I've launched. Because I should imagine for you, it gets sort of a little bit like the norm, where someone else will be like, you've met this person. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Where you, because you're in that world all the time.
Yeah, there's definitely pinch me moments. Like when I was saying I worked with Richard Ward and Helen, it was during the royal wedding.
Oh, wow.
So that was a pinch me moment. So literally having to go to Buckingham Palace to speak to the press office beforehand, then also going the morning after the wedding with Richard to do some press interviews actually in that environment. You can't plan for that.
No.
There's no way in your career do you know that's going to happen.
Yeah.
And that's a definite pinch me moment, in my career. But actually, I think even setting up your own agency is a huge pinch me moment.
Well, this is it. Business, like so many people think about having a business, but just never ever do anything about it. And it's like it's stepping over that wall that you've got, isn't it? And then once you're on the other side, it's like, right, I'm in it.
Exactly.
And then you fly from it, kind of thing, which you have. Yeah. But I think there's definitely a book to
I know. I was going to say it's usually in a drunken taxi ride on the way home, and I'm telling people various things, and then they go, "Oh, that's a book." So, but maybe one day, and I've got a bit of time. I'm not sure I've got time at the moment. But
so, how many clients do you work with at any one time?
So, it's, to be honest, with my agency, it's definitely. I think probably my peak, I had about 16 clients on that side. These days, it's about 4 to 5, just because I kind of, as I said, I'm balancing a few things, and you just kind of want a bit of time to yourself as well. We had this chat the other day, you and I was saying about balancing what I need personally versus just what everybody else is sort of taking from me. And I think we all get to that stage. I'm in my 50s. I kind of need to sort of like not step back, but I just need to breathe a little bit.
It's hard as an entrepreneur though, isn't it? Because there's always that next shiny thing, and you're thinking, yes, I can do that. I can do that. Yeah. But it's like, I'm exactly the same. You have so many opportunities open up to you. Yeah. It's trying to be really, really rigid and think, no, I'm going to stay like with what I'm doing. And
it's that FOMO as well. You think that, I was just at the Cannes film, not Cannes film, it was Cannes Lions. And somebody said to me, "Oh, do you want to come to this event in Milan in November with us?" And I said, "Actually, I'm going to say no." And she's like, "Why? You love coming to these events. You love." And I said, "I know, but you know what? I said to myself, no, I'm going to say no more this year. And that's one I'm going to say no to, because, to be honest, I love Milan, but I've been there enough times. I'm not going to gain much by going to this weekend. So I've bowed out, which I was quite pleased with myself for doing that, because it's quite hard to say no, because you think, but what if? And
it sounds very glamorous.
It does, doesn't it? But it never is. It's always hard work. so part of me was like, so I'm sticking to my guns with that one.
So now, do you concentrate on large companies to work with?
Yeah. So I'm definitely more brand based these days rather than personality based. Yeah. So, for example, like Forest, which we know you and I both love the Forest team.
Yeah, and Forest sponsor the podcast as well.
Oh, they do. Yes, of course they do. Yeah. So I actually met the Forest team a few years ago during the COVID time, lockdown time, because they were very interested in what was going on in the industry. I was the president of the hair and beauty charity during that time. So I'd been co-president for 2 years previously. And then they said, "Oh, why don't you do another 2 more years on your own, Sam? Because, you know what you're doing. You've been involved with the charity a long time." And I thought, yeah, brilliant. Well, I've just done 2 years co-chairing. Yeah. I can do another 2 years as co-president, not realizing it was the 2020 to 2022. Mm-hmm. So basically that was the year when our industry got decimated. Yeah. So I, as a comfortable PR who put people forward and put people in front of cameras and do everything like that, suddenly found myself being thrown into the podcast, being thrown into Instagram lives and so forth, and having to sort of talk about the charity in a much more different way. And that's how I got to meet the Forest team, was because they wanted me to talk to their team. They also wanted me to do podcasts. And then we just kept a relationship going over a few years, just, in industry things. And then I started working with them about 3 years ago. And it was interesting because I really didn't want to work with any more brands. But when they came to me, I thought, do you know what I just love the Forest team. I love what they're doing. I love how passionate they are. Yeah. I love that they've always got something to say.
Yeah, and they're ever evolving as well.
Always,
because I've known them since there was 4 of them. So when it was just grown, in the early days, and then it's grown and grown and grown. Yeah. And what they've done is just absolutely
awesome.
Love
the summit.
I know. I love the summit. I can remember that when it was small as well, and then that's grown and it's larger and larger, and now it's going to be in a whole new destination.
I know, exactly. I'm very, very much. And interestingly, my first time going to the summit was I didn't actually know the team either. I think I'd kind of met a couple of them at various times, but my client was Christophe Robin at the time, who is this beautiful French hair colorist, and he just sold his company to look fantastic for like a lot of money. And he said to me, "Oh, I'll do something for you, Sam." And I said, "Well, why don't you do this forest talk?" And then he said, "Well, I'll donate my money to the charity." So it was great. So I went over to Dublin and we did the talk, and it was and I was like, this company's brilliant. Look at the setup. It was fantastic. And I think they kind of had me from there, really, to be honest.
My first experience was I'd heard of Forest, and as I say, this was like when they were a tiny company. And so I thought I was really ahead of the curve, and I decided, God, this is years and years ago, I decided that I would go over and interview Ronan Percival.
Oh.
I thought that was a really great idea. So I contacted them, and Ronan was, come over. So I went over, and as soon as I got there, he was like, "I've had a better idea. I'll interview you instead." And just me being
nice. That's so Ronan, though, isn't it?
Exactly. And we still laugh about it now, because I came away thinking, I got nothing from that. It's just got, and I thought, this company's going places.
Yeah, no.
But now when I look back, because the content's still somewhere on YouTube, but when I look back, it's just hilarious, because the sound quality is dreadful. But we had such a laugh doing it.
Yeah.
And as I say, it's like, and then when we started the podcast, Ronan was the very first guest. He had to be the very first guest that I had on. So I've just loved the relationship.
Yeah. Well, at the moment, it's all AI. That's all I'm talking about at the moment with them all. And actually, I'm learning a lot, because I'm having to bring a lot more AI into the business, not just from Essence, but also with Curated Beauty, which, we sort of mentioned about. So, it's just all these things, because contracts, for years, I never read a contract. I don't know. It's probably the wrong thing to say. But as a businesswoman, you get all these contracts and you kind of think, well, they're going to be bog standard. You skim, but you think they're bog standard. Now it's brilliant. I just get that. I get that attachment, pop it into my Claude or my chat. I flip between the two.
I'm a Claude girl.
Well, I've only just discovered Claude, and I'm only about 2 months in. I'm still a chat, but Claude, I realise, is the way to go. But popping in contracts to A, get out of them, or B, before I sign them. Yeah. Fascinating. So I love tech. I'm a big techie. So I'm excited to know more about Claude, and I'm constantly reading and getting emails into my inbox about how to build agents, or to do co-agents or sub-agents and various things like that. So
we're just currently doing like a 21-day thing with Marnie Wells, who's like an AI, like she's been on the podcast as well. Just because it's so, like, it's great to have someone walking you through it and telling you what to do, but then it changes so fast.
Yeah, the speed of it, even just in the last, because I've been kind of using it to do a lot of imagery, because obviously you need speed of imagery on any form of like meta advertising and so forth. And with Curated Beauty, obviously we're a startup, so we don't have the big budgets of doing lots of images and so forth. So we do like a basic shoot, and then obviously you're using AI to create like a different background, or putting different, like using the model we did a photo shoot with, like changing her top, or even my top. I love it. I literally got one photo and I've changed the color of my top about 5 times. Everything else stays the same, but my t-shirt goes from pink to green to blue to black. All those things are brilliant. But the speed of doing it now is so much quicker, and the hands stay and the feet look okay.
Do you like that though? Because I think there is a lot of people who are really, really skeptical, because it's going to get to the point where you just don't know what is real, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think, but to be honest, I've worked in media all my career. Magazines have done retouching and changing people for decades. This is nothing new at all. If you think about who you see on television versus when you see them in real life. And also, I used to do a lot of photo shoots. I always were doing shoots, and I'd get the models would come in, I'd look at them and I'm thinking, not sure about you. Open their book. Yeah. And that's completely different. And so for me, and I think probably because I've worked in the industry for so long, and I've been aware of what's been going on behind the scenes with retouching, with the way that the photographers have manipulated images for decades. Yeah. I just think it's another way forward. So, but you've got to have your wits about you. On that side. But I think it's just a natural progression where we are with technology. I'm okay with it.
I think for me, a friend and who's a business coach as well and consultant, Phil Harrison. He showed me something that now he does an awful lot on AI, but he showed me this thing. He was like, watch this video, Susan. And I watched it and it was him talking. And then he said, that's not me. And like, obviously that was the first time I'd ever seen something like that. I think that was, quite a while ago now. Yeah. But, you just like think, wow, that is.
Yeah. It's funny actually, because myself, Roz and Natalie, who own Curated, like Roz is good in front of a camera. Natalie hides away from the camera and I do it with gritted teeth, but I'm okay with it. So, but I literally did a bit like that. I found this website where we can have our own avatars and it is us talking and it is, you speed it in, but we're not there yet. As much as I really want to do it, because just from a time and just from a kind of, comfortable point of view, all three of us were not ready there to put the fake Roz, the fake Natalie, the fake Sam out there. Yeah. So we are authentic at the moment. Whether that changes in 5 years' time because everyone's doing it, I don't know. But for me, when it's a female founder brand, you've got people buy into us. So we have to be the ones who are doing it. And I don't think we can rightly, and I think that's where I would draw the line. As much as I might have a play, I'm definitely going to have a play with it. But
Sam with red hair.
I know, that's what I mean. I think it's brilliant, but if you do that, you have to say this isn't me. You've got to be really honest with it, because we work in the beauty industry. So, and for us, obviously everything. This is all part of it. You have to tell people.
I think with it. Everything, there's the good and the bad, isn't it? Like, and this as well, there's like all the scam things coming out and things. But it's interesting to see how fast it's developed. And I think that's the great thing about the beauty industry, is that although, yes, they've got robots to do lashes and things, I think we're way off that. And human connection, human touch is always going to be.
I launched
something huge.
I can't remember the name of it now. It's gone out of my head. But it's I did just a 3-month project last year where you put your hands into the nail and then it paints your nails.
Yeah. I saw that first over in Dubai when I was speaking for Professional Beauty over there.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's amazing.
Fascinating. And actually, to be honest, it's something that, there was no prep. It can't do the prep. It can't do the sort of like, the bog standard stuff. But it's kind of a gimmick. But I think there potentially is an area there. It's still not 100% though. It's in Selfridges, I think, at the moment. But I loved working with it, again, because it was tech and it was fun and it was interesting. And we were at Salon International and I think they went to Pro Beauty. Yeah. And, I did like a little pop-up for them and things like that, invited journalists in to have the nails done. And we all loved it. But at the same time, there was a little bit of like, I'm not sure about this yet. Yeah,
as I say, I think we're a long way off the human connection side of the industry.
Yeah, definitely. I like being touched.
Exactly. Yeah. And, it was really strange because I've always been fascinated by AI, and I got invited to an AI dinner, and there was like some really like top guys there, and I didn't expect that we would end up talking about the beauty industry. But obviously everyone was like saying where they were from, and that was the whole thing that came out of it. They were all like saying that, like, see, there's going to be so many things to help our industry, but AI really can't touch our industry in the way that, like, that they say, the more things go that way to the AI side and the tech side, at the same time, it's going to have the same balance on the other side, where the wellness and the human connection side is going to grow higher. And you can see that. I mean, our industry is at the forefront in the high street, isn't it? Really.
Well, interesting. They used to say something about when Amazon's not going to come in and take over our industry, but actually Amazon has opened a hair salon in Spitalfield, just near where I work.
Really?
Yeah. So it's been there for about 3-4 years. So there is an Amazon hair salon in Spitalfield where you can go in and have your hair done. So it's hairdressers are owners. It's an association with a hair salon group. But then the products you literally take off and then it gets sent direct to you. So,
right. So it's the online side.
It's the online side, sort of thing. But, it is Amazon above the screen and everything like that. So,
Wowza.
Yeah.
Now, I want to talk a little bit before we finish about Curated Beauty, but can we go back to the hair and beauty charity? Because obviously, I think it's about 4 or 5 years now that I've been involved with the hair and beauty charity. And that was because Sarah Schumacher and I came in, because up until then it had been mainly dominated by the hair side of the industry, but there was more and more sort of cases of people needing the help from within the beauty industry. So can you talk about your take on the industry, on the hair and beauty charity?
For me, I've seen it change a lot over the decade or plus that I've been involved with it. And I think what it is, for us, it's all about trying to get that brand awareness of the charity, because, it's a very unique charity. So, as you say, we help, hairdressers and beauticians who've fallen on hard times with financial support. But interestingly, the type of the beneficiary who's asking for help from us is changing a lot, sort of thing. As you said, beauty started to really get involved on that side. And I would say even before COVID, that was the case. We were starting to see a lot more beauty. Some of my clients, Salon System, I was the PR for Salon System for 10 years. They got involved again, because obviously I was saying to them that more and more beauticians are asking for help. They need some product, or they might need some financial support. How can you support us to do that? So, we still need more beauty brands to help the charity. So we've still got a very small amount, I think, compared to how many beauty brands are out there. I think the way that the type of cases people are asking us has increased as well. So we have a lot more people know about us, which is brilliant. But obviously we need to raise more money. So the more people know about us, the more money we're giving out. And it's, it's like a 360. We have to kind of have that fundraising element at all times. But then also, the type of cases, and you'll know this, Susan, is that, a lot more domestic violence is coming through. We're helping a lot more people, having to move to new homes, actually helping with their furniture, through cancer treatments and so forth. So the cases, and to be honest, it's hard sometimes, listening to these stories.
It is. That's the part I find hard in the meetings.
And, doing it as long as I've been doing it doesn't get any easier. No. It doesn't get any, and I'm a trustee now as well. So actually, I'm very invested in the charity.
Because I think a lot of people think, oh, well, if I just get into a little bit of financial difficulty with my business, they'll step in and help. But it's not that. It's personal. And it's like we say, like things like domestic violence and ways that when someone just can't work and you hear of people, like some of the stories, like you say, are heartbreaking.
Yeah, exactly. And we're very fortunate, we almost live in a bubble, a lot of us, don't we? Because, we go to these glamorous events and we go to the awards and we go to the shows and, we're meeting people all the time. But actually, there's a huge section of our industry that are struggling. They can't feed their children. They can't buy the clothes. They're having to sort of deal with issues with their families or their husbands, or sort of sudden deaths and various things like that. And, that's what we are. We're a lifeline at the end of the day. And I think it's a really beautiful and very important charity.
And I think it does take a lot for someone to reach out.
Yeah.
Because I speak to obviously a lot of salon clinic owners where they quite often practically funding the business, just because they don't want to ask for help or anything like that. But and I was like, this has happened a few times from guests that we've had on, and just obviously when I'm speaking at events. Now you hear more and more of salon owners and clinic owners who have worked so hard and not listened to their bodies, not listened to, sort of put themselves way down the line, everyone else, that team, that family, everyone else before them, and then their body start giving them signs of, that like to slow them down. Not listening, and then hear of like people have, like young people having heart attacks, strokes, serious diseases, and I think we've just got to get into perspective that at the end of the day, it's it's a business. It's not. You've got
and
to step away.
I think within our industry, hair and beauty, you give so much.
Exactly.
You're constantly giving to your clients.
Yeah.
If you're a therapist, you're touching people, you're pulling like the energy from that person. Hairdressers are talking, and again, they're hearing that's going all onto their shoulders. The nail techs sit there, they're touching, and they're hearing all this all day in, day out. Even myself, if I love to go and have my hair done, my beauty done, my nails done, everything. I'm a big beauty person. I try not to talk to my therapists because I think to myself, just give them a break. But that's because I'm in the industry. But I think but you guys have spent years taking this all in.
Exactly.
And you're not actually looking after yourselves. So, and I think it's quite easy to forget that you also need that little bit of pampering time. Take yourself somewhere else. Don't do it within your team. Go to a fellow, maybe even swap, if you don't want to pay, swap treatments sort of thing and do it that way. But I just think, as you say, as an industry, you guys are taking an awful lot on your shoulders and you need to listen to your bodies.
Yeah. And I just say it's like, there's so much pressure on, isn't it? Because, the industry's changing as well. So there's a far more competition out there. So it's like, the pressure is on. But I think, you've got to just like think there's only one of you. Yeah. And you've got to look after that you kind of thing.
Exactly.
And So with the charity as well, obviously, they do some fantastic things. I love at the shows where they're there with sometimes Sarah and Natalie, who you can't see them underneath boxes of like products and different things. And there's a lot of money raised from there, isn't there? Then there's things like the golf day that's not long been on.
I know that was my first time, although obviously I've been involved in it for a long time, but that was my first time actually attending it. And it was very glamorous and very lovely, but we raised a lot of money, and that's the key thing. Having the, people in the room to be able to talk through what the charity does. And that's what it is. It's all through word of mouth, a lot of what we're doing. Obviously from yourself as well, you've been very kind and done some fabulous networking and events that have raised some really big money for us. And I think the more people that know about us, and as we all say, there's two sides to the charity. We need money, but we also need people to know we exist so that we can give that money out. So it's having that balance, really. And then I think in this weekend or next weekend, it's the Scratch Awards. So I'm going along to the Scratch Awards, and we'll be doing some fundraising there on the night. So hopefully we get to sort of, raise the profile again. You'll see me on stage. I'll be doing some sort of game or something. I can't remember what we're doing, a game to raise money. But anything like that, those little things that can help raise the awareness of the charity is brilliant from my side.
So there's that charity, but then you're involved with another charity as well.
So it's not really a charity, it's an industry body, which is the Global Women in PR.
Right.
So that one, my friend set up 10 years ago. And that's a little bit for me as an industry, because I do an awful lot for the hair and beauty world. So I've pretty much spent all of my career given to the industry. So this is basically PR. So it's a little bit glamorous, but it's a lot of networking, a lot of mentoring, either for myself being mentored by some of my peers, but also then me passing it down to sort of younger PRs. And we have 13 groups around the world. And then I pretty much coordinate with them all. I write them newsletter. I keep them updated about what activities we're doing. We do an annual survey and so forth, things like that. So so it's pretty interesting.
So how big is how many?
It's hard to know because each group has its own setup. So, we have a group in the Middle East. We've got a group, we're trying to get one off on the ground in New York. We've got them in Europe. Last couple of years ago, we went into Turkey, and that's sort of getting off the ground. So, so we've got on that side, but they're kind of individually run. So we don't really get involved with how many members they've got. We just go into different countries and try and open the group up. So it's a networking group, really. So they do a lot of like business talks and a lot of podcasts or Zoom calls and things like that.
But I think in-person events are really, there's a real insurgence of them, isn't it? Is that the word? I think people want to be in the room again. And I think that become more and more since we obviously were in lockdown. I think everything's changed there. And then just, I mean, I don't know how you do all of this. Everyone says I'm busy, but like Sam.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. My husband is looking at me when I came up with my new business idea. He just went, really? I thought you were supposed to be slowing down. And I went, I know. I thought so too. But, you know. So
I know we're going to do a separate episode on your latest thing, but tell us just a little bit about what this new business venture is.
New business venture is. So basically, I met Natalie and Roz as their PR. So Roz was launching Monate, which is a hair and beauty, and she's in the professional sector as well. She was launching it into the UK. It must be about 9-10 years ago. We were at an event. We didn't know each other. I was sat in front of her. She was behind. And I was at an awards ceremony, and I kept going up, collecting an award, coming back, go collect an award, come back. And she just tapped me and went, who are you and why are you winning so many awards? And I said, oh, I'm a beauty PR. And she went, right, we need to talk. I'm launching a brand at the end of the month. And literally that's how it came about. She phoned me the next morning and said, right, can you do the PR? And I said, well, let me do a proposal. And she said, oh, no, we haven't got time for that. I just need you to do what you've been doing for your clients. I can see you're great. And that's how we started our relationship. So over the years with Roz, as she kind of moved to different companies, she would say, okay, well, this is my PR. And Natalie and her have worked together for like 25 years in various things, from their Virgin Cosmetic days. So Roz set up Virgin Cosmetics with Richard Branson years and years ago. Yeah. So they worked together from that. And again, as Roz moved to different companies, Natalie kind of either was bought in or they just always worked together. Yeah. And it's kind of what happened to me as well. So when the two of them had sort of left their previous jobs, I just had an inkling something. Roz was wanting to do something. So again, we were another awards night. And I said, I've got a feeling you're going to do something. And if you do, I want to be in on it, but I don't want to be your PR. I want to be your business partner. So then the three of us went, So Curated Beauty was born, which is a hair care, skincare and wellness brand for the midlife woman.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So we have 10 products.
Yeah.
And we launched last August. So, and it's been fun, but full on.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to talk too much about and give too much away, but if someone goes onto your website, there is going to be something on there, isn't there?
Yeah, so Curated Beauty, and it's on my Instagram and everything like that. So yeah, and it's a whole other world because you think you know everything about beauty.
I love your slowing down bit.
Yeah, I know, exactly. You think you know about everything about beauty, but realise, and all three of us have been in the beauty industry for decades. Yeah. And we're all just literally every time we have a phone call, we laugh and go, how did we not know this? But and I kind of think that's the exciting bit, is that we are learning so much.
Talking about learning, what would you say are, I want a couple of golden nuggets of like what you have learned over the years, what your key bits of information you would like pass on to someone.
So I was thinking about this the other day because when I was away over at the Cannes Lions, I met a lot of people who were talking at me. That's the other thing, is try not to talk at people, talk to people. And I hadn't got a clue what they were saying that their jobs were or what that is that they do, because people use a lot of words.
Yes.
When they could just really, as much as I'm, in the word industry, I'm afraid I am quite basic. I like people to just get to the point.
Yes.
On that side. And so I think for me, not being afraid to ask somebody to slow it down and really break it down for me, because I sometimes think people just I'm a waffler. I can waffle on, but I don't think I overcomplicate things. I just like to talk. So that's slightly different. But I don't have a fear of saying to someone, I'm sorry, I really don't understand what it is that you do, or I really don't understand what it is you're trying to tell me. Could you break it down, or could you go a little bit basic for me with that one? So I can really, because it's just, I think sometimes we all have so much going on in our head that it's hard to understand sometimes what people are saying to me. So I just ask them to slow it down a little bit. And years ago, I would never have asked somebody to do that. But now, or if they use a word I don't know, again, I'm quite happy now in saying, I'm sorry, I really don't understand that word. I don't know what it means. Can you explain it to me?
Yeah, that's such a great point because, and I think someone who's not too confident tends to just like nod and go, where that's great just to be able to like just say like, can you just, because again, it's like bringing a better conversation, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
and I also think networking and female networking. I listen, men and I work in the industry, so it's not a male thing, I think. But I do feel when you're in a room with women, you're more likely to be heard. We've all been, and I'm sure you're the same, Susan, we've all been in meetings where there's men and women, and the men project a lot easier and a lot louder. They're not necessarily saying anything better, but it's just they hold the room. So I do prefer personally to spend more time with women in business than I do necessarily. I've learned a lot from guys, but I actually learn far more from women. Across sectors as well, industry sectors, than anything else, sort of thing. So I think surrounding yourself with sort of strong women who know what they're doing. Well.
There's so much to learn, though, isn't there? I always like, if you're going to learn from someone, there's so much out there on social media and things, and it does get very, very hard to like think, is that the right advice or anything? So I always like think, if you're going to learn something, make sure that person's either done what you want to do or has got really, really great knowledge of it, and you've got evidence of that, so that you can learn in a great way. Because as I say, I do think there's just so much chatter out there, and it's very hard to like sort of figure out what's best and what's not.
And I think for me, because I spend a lot of time on my computer, is like, don't forget to unsubscribe to a lot of emails. I am a massive unsubscriber. If I'm like, even if I have subscribed to something, after a few months, it might be I've realised I'm not reading them, and I just click unsubscribe.
Yeah, if you need it again, you can always subscribe again. Yeah. I must admit, I have just started taking that bit of advice, because your inbox just gets flooded, doesn't it? So much.
I'm a big deleter. My inbox is so tidy.
Oh, can you have mine?
Yeah, mine is like at 0 by the end of each day.
Really? I would like to tell you how many emails I've got.
No. I can't cope with that. So I'm very much, everything gets put into a box, into a folder. And I'm very, very organised. And then I literally, if there's something in my inbox that doesn't need to be there, it gets deleted straight away.
But again, that's just really being strict with yourself, isn't it?
Definitely.
And having good habits in business.
On that. And you've got to, I think, with what I'm doing.
Well, Samantha, I can't wait to get you back on again. And hopefully we'll have Natalie and them too.
Yeah, that'll be brilliant. No, so I'm like all of this. So thank you very much. I think this is my first actual proper podcast. So
really, I'm very proud and feel very honoured.
Yes, thank you.
That's been absolutely brilliant. We'll put everything in the show notes.
Yeah.
We'll put in about the charity as well.
Yeah, please.
Because you can as well. You can just be a monthly donator to the charity, which is great. But we'll put everything in about the podcast, about PR company and things. And I can't wait to have you back as a guest very, very soon.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Sam.
I've enjoyed it. Thank you.